But you can see the dedication that would take to look like that. I mean, that's hours and hours and hours of training there.
How many years was that to get to that point?
Well, that was 11 years ago. A photograph taken right before the 1980 Mr. Olympia contest, and I had been training at that point for about 15 years, off and on, but for about 7 years straight through right before that.
That's incredible.
But an important point, Anthony, I did not train for hours and hours every day, and this is an important issue.
Oh, okay.
Contrary to what most bodybuilders do, which is train 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, to obtain that condition, I trained literally for 30 minutes 4 times a week, 2 hours a week.
Yeah, because the theory that you always hear is that it does require hours and hours to look like that.
The mistaken premise there is that more is better. And the body doesn't necessarily work that way. If 2 hours or 4 hours a day were good, well, why not train 12 hours a day? Training is a form of stress, and up to a certain point in time, exposing the body to stress can be beneficial. But beyond a definite period in time, it can actually be detrimental.
That's interesting.
Let me ask you, amongst the top contenders in the world, or competitors, would everybody be training differently? Do you think, or do people know that less is actually better for them?
No, they don't. The vast majority of people who train it almost exactly the same way, for 2 to 4 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. There are those who have read my articles and have attended my seminars and tend to be reasonable individuals and train just for 30 to 45 minutes a day, 4 times a week.
Something that I'm always curious about, because I'm a big fan of doing cardiovascular work. Do you advocate that, doing, let's say, an hour of cardiovascular work a day? Does that keep the weight off, or does that tear down?
No, it does not necessarily keep the weight off. Weight control is primarily a matter of calorie balancing. You could do 2 hours a day of aerobics, and if you're eating too many calories, still be getting fat. Another point here that's important is that your weight training can give you the cardiovascular benefit at the same time that it gives you the muscle training benefit. If you're not resting too long between sets and you're sustaining what's called the age-adjusted pulse rate, you will develop a cardiovascular training effect and improve your heart and lungs along with your skeletal muscle tissue.
Give us a sample diet of someone that wanted to lose weight. I mean, how many calories? I guess it really depends on the individual person. You can't make an overall call on that. But
there is a fundamental principle involved here, and that is, as long as the individual goes below his or her maintenance level of calories, they will lose fat. Whether their maintenance level is 1,500 calories a day or 15,000, any number below that will cause the body to revert to fat burning instead of storing fat.
Is alcohol as fattening as everyone says it is?
Well, alcohol contains 7 calories a gram. Carbohydrates and protein contain 4 calories a gram, while fat contains 9 calories a gram, so it's in between.
No more beer, Bill?
I guess so.
What he's telling us?
No, as a matter of fact, I truly believe that you can indulge in those things on occasion without any harmful effects, as long as you're taking care of yourself, training 2 or 3 times a week, and basically following a well-balanced diet. There's always room for a few calories of beer. A few, I said.
Under your theory, I guess, of training, would that apply to men and women?
Yeah, the basic physiological principles involved in exercise physiology apply to everybody, male and female.
But it is true that men gain weight in areas that women don't gain weight.
Well, you know, I used to think that too, and I think there is a little bit of unobjective sexism there. I've seen a lot of women training now in the gym who gain even faster than some guys. Again, even with the women, it's individual genetic potential that determines how fast they'll grow. Some guys have almost no genetic potential for growth. Same is true for females, but then again, there's some females who exhibit a tremendous potential for growth.
Well, it's kind of hard to know, though, if you do have genetic. I mean, I guess you should get a signal if you've been training for 10 years. You don't see any growth.
If it's something you can only accurately assess in retrospect, you won't know until you try.
Right.
So for those who are interested, try it. Don't be put off by someone telling you, well, you don't have the potential. That's something no one knows, again, unless you're looking back over a period of time. Within 2 or 3 years, if you haven't gained anything at all, either you're training improperly, which is often the case, or you have poor genetics. But then again, anybody can improve. You may not become a muscular marvel, but you can improve your muscular tone and lose fat.
And it would also enhance a certain degree of confidence with that also.
For sure.